Is it up? Certification in closed section pursuant to subsection 2.2-3712 D of the Code of Virginia 1960 as amended. Each member of the Board of Supervisors, upon roll call, certifies that, to the best of their knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and only such public business matters that were identified in the motions by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting by the Board of Supervisors. Any member of the Board of Supervisors who believes that there was a departure from the requirements shall state so prior to the vote, indicating the substance of the departure that in his or her judgment has taken place. Are there any supervisors that believe there was a departure? Seeing none, if you agree that the matters heard, discussed, or considered during the closed meeting were pursuant only to the motions by which the closed meeting was convened, please signify by saying yea or yes. Tim Lovelace.
Yes.
Luann Wallace.
Yes.
Carl Ray.
Yes.
David Eaton.
Yes.
Steve Breeding.
Yes.
Rebecca Dye.
Yes.
Ma'am, you have approval to turn into regular session.
Thank you. All right, at this time, we'll have our invocation and remain standing for the pledge, please.
Let us pray. Father God, Lord, we love you, we thank you, and we praise you today, Father. Father, we thank you for the rain that you've given us, and we thank you for allowing us to be together during this holiday time, Father. Father, we ask you to help us remember those lives that were lost at Pearl Harbor, especially tomorrow, Father, with it being the anniversary. We ask you to forgive us for where we fail you each and every day, Father. Lord, we do not deserve the grace that you have given us, but we gladly accept it anyway. Father, be with us during this time. Help us make decisions that you want us to make, Father. For it's in your name I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's get on track. First up, okay, approval of the agenda.
Okay, pardon? We need to change, well, you've got the public hearing on mine. Yep. So, okay, first thing we have is our public hearing. That is with the Cumberland Plateau Planning District, Debbie Milton. Pardon? Excuse me, Debbie, we need to add something to our agenda if you don't care, please. Steve, will you please make an amendment and to add the resignation that we got today for Mr. Kirby Meadows? And we'll put it at right before citizens' comment. That's all of our appointments and board.
Okay, I'll make that motion that we insert that at that point.
And approve the agenda at that point. Thank you. All right, do we have a second to amend the agenda and add that in?
Approve it, yeah.
Second.
Thank you, Tim. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Okay, our first is with Ms. Debbie Milton with discussing the Belfast Water Line Extension Phase 3, a DHCD grant.
Good evening, you all. We were awarded that grant by the Department of Housing and Community Development. We're in the process of getting under contract. That's why I'm here. I have the documents here that need to be approved, but the total award for the grant was $640,000, and the total project cost will be $799,950 to hook up 54 homes in the project area. Once we get under contract and these forms are signed, I will submit those to DHCD. They will, at that time, send the contract for Lonzo to sign. We'll return it, and then we can start construction. So I don't expect that to take very long. depends on the weather, this time of year, of course, how it goes. But, I'm not sure if they put it in your all's agenda, but it's a, administrative agreement between the county and the Cumberland Plateau for us to manage the grant. Also, you have an agreement between the county and the PSA. The PSA will construct the project, and they will also operate and maintain the project. So there's one. And, we've been blessed this year in Russell County. The Dayton Sewer Project's been funded, and also, I've just applied for the Tiller Trailer Park, and I expect that to be funded. So a lot of these documents have to be redone per grant. Some of them we can use again. So not always will you have to sign these, but some, I will be coming back as we get under contract with each grant. There is also a certification of signatures. That's just, allowing the bank account to be set up where the money comes. And then an anti-displacement plan in case anyone has to be moved from their home for any reason, but I don't see that happening. We also have to do a non-discrimination policy, have it signed, and it has to be posted at the county offices. And then we have an employment plan here to be signed. All that says is, to the best of our ability, that if Harvey hires anyone, he'll try to do it in from the workforce in Russell County if he can. If someone's looking for a job, he's gonna try to do that. And that's what I have. And, some of it's for the chairman to sign, some of it's for Lonzo to sign. So, anybody have any questions? I'll be glad to answer them if I can. That's all I had. Thank
Okay.
you.
It's nice to get money for a project that's well needed, and this is in the Belfast area. All right, any other further comments? All right, the next thing motion, close our public hearing, if there's no other comments. Any comments from the public? All right, yep, we'll have a motion to,
Madam Chair, I'll make a
Accept
motion
this.
that we approve all of these documents that Debbie's presented and authorize the appropriate county official to sign those documents, whether it be the county administrator or the chairman.
okay. Do we
I'll
have a
second it.
David? Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. Next thing is the new business, and that is approval of the minutes. And the only thing that I saw in there is, Burke Artrup's name is spelled B-E-R-K, not B-U-R-K. So just the change of someone's name, it's B-E-R-K. So do we have a motion to accept our minutes from last meeting?
I'll make that motion with the changes you've noted.
Just that name, spelling. All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Lou? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Now we have the approval of our expenditures. We need to pay our bills. We have a motion for that.
I'll make that motion.
All right, thank you, Carl.
I'll second it.
Second, David, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All right, now we have our committee appointments for board considerations. The first one is the Appalachian Juvenile Commission. It is for a 4-year term, and previously that was our County Administrative Secretary, Vicki Porter. So is there this?
I'll make a motion to reappoint Vicki.
All right,
Second.
all right, any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
So we will reappoint Vicki to that. Cumberland Mountain Community Service Board, that's Mr. James Mounts and Mr. David Eaton.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make the motion that we are, unless anyone has any reservations about, we haven't heard from any of them except we had a lovely letter concerning Mr. Eaton, which I want to bring to everybody's attention, that they said that he had done an exceptional job. And David, when we placed you there, we knew you would. So I'd like to reappoint James Mounts and David Eaton to this board, please.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Tim, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, our Highway Safety Commission, it is for 2 years, Ms. Linda Cross. That's, the 2-year term ends December 31st.
Madam Chair, I'd like to nominate Linda Cross again for that committee, please.
All right. Second,
I'll second it.
David. Any further discussion? Any other names? All those in favor? Aye. People, Inc., Financial Board, Alicia McLaughlin. It is for a 3-year term. The current one does end December 31st.
Madam
I'll
Chair,
renominate Alicia.
Okay, David.
second that.
Steve. All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, our Planning Commission, and this was to be Mr. Orris Christian, an at-large position, and he did send us an email, if I understand, that he will be out sick tonight.
I'd like to
Okay.
nominate Scott McLaughlin.
Okay,
At the request of Oris, I would nominate Charlie Edmonds. That puts me in kind of a spot there, but I would.
have the two, because we were doing one per committee member, right? So,
I'm certainly not opposed to David.
no, so Katie, since there is none at large, and then and David doesn't have one, there are 2 spots that can be there,
And we need them.
and we need them, so.
Statute I looked up was 5 to 14 members. It's just however the board wants to limit it. So, I mean,
Okay.
that's up to the board. You have the flexibility to appoint up to 14. It's just whatever you all want to do.
And that would give each one of us representation. So let's
Take it one at a time.
let's do one at a time. How's that? Tim?
I second David's.
Okay, so Scott McLaughlin. So all those in favor of Mr. McLaughlin? Aye. Tim?
And I'll second Tim's.
Okay. Mr. Edmonds? What did you say? Charlie Edmonds. All right. Any discussion? Any further thoughts on these two? All right. All those in favor of putting Mr. Edmonds in? Aye. Okay, that feels, everyone have representation. The next thing is we do have a vacancy on the Russell County Public Service Authority. There was a resignation, and so we do have that, and I believe with that, when we consolidated, we gave everyone an equal opportunity to have a representation, and David, I believe this was your person who resigned, Chris Dye.
Well, one thing, before I nominate this person, I'd like to say I really appreciate Chris and what he brought to the authority with his expertise, and I've had a discussion with him. I really hate to see him come off that board. He done an exceptionally great job. But I'd like to nominate Steve Perkins.
All right. Any further thoughts? All right. Do you second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Tim? All right, any other thoughts? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? I can't imagine this, because it's your appointment, David. Thank you. All right, the next thing, we received a letter for, and we will need to accept the resignation of Mr. Kirby Meadows, and I'll read it. To whom it may concern, I, Kirby Meadows, wish to give notice to the members of the Russell County Board of Supervisors that as of Tuesday, November 16th, I do hereby resign as chairman and member of the Russell County Planning Commission. This letter will serve as my official resignation effective immediately. And I did call Kirby and speak with him, and he is very, very busy. He has done an excellent job. I believe he told me that he had been chair for 22 years on the Planning Commission. But he said with his job and working for 5 different companies, he is no longer having the time he can to put to this. So at this time, we'll
Madam
Have it-
Chair, I would think everybody has a member on this planning commission now. So including the at-large, it's 7 members. I think we should just leave that one unfilled. And we're at where we had thought we were gonna try to be. I'll make a motion to accept his resignation.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
I'll second it.
Second. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, the next thing is we will open the floor to our citizens' comment period. If you don't care, will you bring, thank you, dear. You'll state your name, your address, and your concern. We have 3 minutes. Okay, we have Mr. B.J. King, 20 Dalton Street, Cedar Bluff, the noise ordinance. She will be speaking to it. Yeah, she does have it, and she's got, Katie, there's 3, the original, a new, and other thoughts, right? Okay, we do have. Thank you, Mr. King. Next, we have Mr. Greg Hancock. And I can't read your address, sir, if you want to.
This is just a comment period. It's not a time where I'll be answering any questions.
Unless you're taking the Fifth Amendment, which this is not a criminal proceeding, I'm going to ask when I'm going to get the answer to my question as to whether the litter ordinance applies to Lot 10 in Green Valley Estates subdivision. And number 2, when, if ever, the county's going to take action on it. And I've been asking that for 2 years. You guys have got my emails there. This is ridiculous. I came prepared to do a song and dance, but you know what? I told the residents of my subdivision that we had a way that we could enforce that ordinance. But I said that we ought to wait and see if the county won't do it. And I promised them, I said, well, it ought to be easy to get an opinion from the county. But you know what? It has not been. My first email to you guys, not my first contact, but my first email was in February 2020. Then I had ultimately I didn't get anything, so I asked for a conference call with you and Lonzo, I think in September of 2020. And I was promised a response, a legal response, soon thereafter from you. It was a telephone conference call with you and Lonzo. Well, October came on us. This is 2020, more than a year ago. You hadn't gotten it done. I hadn't seen anything from you. I don't know why it's so hard to say yes or no. So I got you and Lonzo on the line, and Lonzo said you were busy. So I think it was said that you would be back with me in 2 weeks and have a written opinion to me. I never got it. Don't have it today. I've asked for it. I don't understand. I don't care who I get an answer from here. I want to know when I'm going to get an answer. By the way, it can be no, we're not going to force it, although with the new ordinance, I don't see. The new ordinance is more streamlined. Seems to me it takes away some of the claptrap in the old ordinance, or the original old ordinance. When we first got in this, we had one ordinance, then we adopted another that was identical, as far as I could tell. 7 or 8 pages defining solid waste. I have worn myself out trying to get an answer. I do not understand why I cannot get an answer. Somebody please tell me the answer. If you don't have the answer now, tell me how soon you're going to get the answer. I don't understand. I've never seen a public body operate like this. And I've been a town attorney. I was a town attorney when the town of Lebanon was doing the annexation for Russell County. We didn't just ignore people. So, what's my answer? Anybody? I guess Alonzo was running my clock back.
Yes, sir, you ran out. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Does that mean I'm canceled?
There is a 3-minute time limit, sir.
Yeah. Well, I believe I'll do a filibuster. I'm going to stay here till I get some kind of answer. Now, you guys have pictures. I sent it. I gave you a package of materials. That is the property substantially as it is now.
Mr. Hancock, I hate to be rude, but your time is up, sir, and we do need to call
Well,
it.
you
We
do
thank
need
you.
to listen. Now you listen here. Camera, camera, camera. At what point do you folks get to just rope-a-dope people and not give them an answer? I want to know. 2 years. I've never seen anything like this. Do you plan on having an answer? What do I need to do? Write the Attorney General and see what he can do with this? Why did you adopt an ordinance if you didn't know if you were going to enforce it? Are you planning on discussing this in executive session next time? Well, how about that? Public body struck dumb. You've seen it.
Sorry.
All these politicians don't have anything to say.
I'm sorry, it looks like there's a third name on the, is it Powell?
Oh,
Is
I
there,
saw Phil Roloff here, so I thought he wanted to speak, so I put it in.
okay. Well, is there anyone else, any other citizens' comment? Any other folks that want to talk? Yes, if you'll state your name and your address, please come in. Okay, and give me your address, sir, and I'll write it down so we can have it for our record. 47 Deal Street? Okay. Cedar Bluff? Cedar Bluff, Lebanon? Okay, gotcha. And your topic, sir?
I want to talk to the ordinance the same as Greg did.
Okay.
I live in the same subdivision, and I have some issues with things. I've been driving around the county because I sat on the planning commission for 20 years in Michigan, and I have never seen anything that is done the way it's done around here. I drove out Pioneer Avenue yesterday from the high school to where you hit 19, and I counted 17 junk cars, most of them right along the road. So I wonder why this county doesn't do something to affect some of this stuff and try to take care of the trash that's around here. It's rampant everywhere. I don't think I'm the only person that sees it. I think it's time for the board to decide what to do with this stuff and take some action, hire somebody to do it, whatever it takes to do it, but it needs to be done.
Excuse me, sir, will you spell your last name for me?
ROELOF.
L-O-F. Thank you, appreciate that. Anyone else in citizens' comment? Yes, sir. State your name and your address, please.
EEDING. And my address is 1433 River Mountain Road, Lebanon, Virginia. And is my time started, sir? I gotta get back to work. That's all right, go ahead. So I'm currently dealing with some fencing problems. Well, it's not really with our problem. We have a neighbor that's got some goats, and they've been getting in our hayfield and stuff of that nature. And before, just being cordial and trying to make things right, you know, my mother came out here and got the most recent copy of the Board of Supervisors fencing ordinance for the county. And looking through it, it was voted on in 93. The state put out something in 93 and 94 when I was 1 year old for the county, or for the citizens of each county to vote on whether they want to be fence in or fence out. And I mean, I'm almost 30 now, and I would like if it could be re-voted on, because as a citizen and as a livestock owner, I have, you know, countless dollars invested in cows and keeping our hay fields good, so that way I have enough crop to self-sustain myself. And I believe that, you know, I believe in a good fence keeps a good neighbor, right? So if a person wants to buy land and have livestock on that property, they should, you know, have the gall to at least keep everything in on their side as well, as we have done for the last 15 years. I've maintained our fence. I've never had an issue with any of my neighbors. If a cow gets out, I leave work, or if it's on a weekend or Christmas time, holidays, and if the military lets me, I'll leave the military and I can come take care of what I got to take care of. I've been fortunate to have good bosses. But if the county could, or if the Board of Supervisors would mind to take into a vote again for people that was not alive or was 1 year old whenever the ordinance was first established, I would greatly appreciate that. And I think my time is up, sir. I don't know.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
thank y'all.
We appreciate you coming. Joseph Breeding. All right, anyone else? Any other public comment? All right, seeing none, we'll close our public comment time. Constitutional officers and reports. None. All right, our county attorney reports and requests.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Lonzo put this under me. It's the VRA Courthouse Financing Resolution. I did approve it, but I just want to remind the board that Dennis Jones is acting as bond counsel in this matter. We sent this resolution to him as well. This is basically just to move forward with, VRA had gotten some quotes on bidding out the bonds for the courthouse. And so they sent us the information with the 6 lowest bidders, and they just wanted us to approve the resolution that's attached to the agenda to move forward with that. And then there'll be some more financing documents and everything that will have to get approved, and that will go through Dennis later.
You need us a motion to approve the documents that you currently have.
Yes, it was prepared by VRA, the resolution.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion, we approve that resolution.
All right, Steve, thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
David, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
No one opposed? All right.
The second item on the agenda that I have, Madam Chair, is regarding the opioid litigation. There are actually 5 documents to approve. The two resolutions, one which incorporates the memorandum of understanding, was attached to the agenda I sent to Lonzo, but on Friday I received 3 more documents. Receive those two, Lonzo? Okay. There's also a subdivision settlement participation form, a settlement participation form, and also a subdivision escrow agreement. And I'm asking the board to approve all of those documents and authorize the chair and the county administrator to sign any and all documents in connection therewith.
So moved.
I'll second
David.
that.
All right, Steve, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposing?
The next item I have is a document that that Lonzo and I have been working with Tazewell County on. It's in connection with Project Jonah. It's an inter-jurisdictional agreement, and the purpose of this agreement is because where this project is going to be on both Russell County and Tazewell County, with the building inspections and the erosion and settlement control, to give each other authority to act in that jurisdiction. For instance, if our building inspector cannot be there, that Tazewell County would have the ability to act, and vice versa. So it's only in relation to Project Jonah. And as far as expenses, the one provision we did work out is that basically we would be responsible for the procurement, any issues that may come up with the procurement. But as far as any contracts that are entered into as far as inspection services, that will be controlled by the revenue sharing agreement that we approved some time ago. And actually, and I apologize, Madam Chair, this is actually an ordinance, and so it has to be advertised, so you cannot vote on it tonight. I'm bringing it for your information, but just asking, you don't have to have a public hearing for it, but you would just ask to set it on the next agenda to approve after it's been properly advertised.
Just tonight is for informational only, and then after they provide us with the rest of their information, we will have it and
Yes,
present it.
just a motion to move forward and advertise the ordinance to be considered at the January meeting.
Okay, all right, information only. Thank you, Katie. All right, the next one is, Aaron? Oh, you need a motion for that?
Yeah, just a motion to set it on the next agenda and to advertise the ordinance to be considered at the January meeting.
Well, are we ready to do that? Because I know they sent their plans and they said they would not even be ready till March in that email.
And as far as that go, this is not a cost issue. This is just giving each other the authority to act as far as the building inspector.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't see a harm in going ahead and passing that. Now, as far as any contracts or anything on how expenses are going to be shared, that would be handled later and at that time. But this would just be, however the board wants to proceed, it's just something that we would need in place once those. And I don't know if there's any, I think probably because of the time of the year and the weather, things will slow down significantly. But
Yeah.
basically what that agreement allows is for each other to have authority in each other's county.
Okay, so you need a motion to have the public notice next month.
It just has to, before you can enter this agreement with Tazewell, it has to be advertised because it's an ordinance that you pass.
Okay, all right, do we have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion that we authorize the advertisement for this public notice for our January board meeting, January 22.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed?
The last item I have, and this was at the board's direction, just to kind of go back and look into this. I know that we had considered a noise ordinance about 2 years ago, and that the board, I think, made the motion to table that indefinitely. I know because of some concerns from some citizens. So what I did, and I sent to the board prior to the meeting so they can consider, is the ordinance as we had drafted, and I think Lonzo had pulled that from another county, and then I made some changes from some counties that I I had seen, and then I provided you the Albemarle County noise ordinance just because it had more specific provisions, and I know that was a concern from the board that the way that the initial one was written, that it was too broad and too vague, and so when I reviewed theirs, they were pretty specific on how they handled that, but as I stated when I provided that information to the board, the noise ordinance is not a requirement that this board pass. It is something that is optional, and I will be happy to do or draft anything that the board would like. I would just need to have feedback, and because this is an ordinance, before it could be adopted, it would have to be advertised as well.
Do any board members have anything that, after reading this, that you have any discussion, any questions? What seems to be everyone's biggest concerns? What, after reading all the exceptions of this? I thought, Katie, wasn't there 13 exceptions? No, yeah, 13 exceptions to the noise ordinance.
In the original one?
Yes. Time and date, over the weekends, during the weekday, does give the exceptions for football games, parades, public festivities, anything like that. Does anyone have any thoughts? Does anyone need to discuss or make any comment on what Katie needs to do sending us forward with this?
I want to tell you, I read the Albemarle. Well, I read them all three of them. Reading ours was, they're duplicate, but the Albemarle is more specific to the issues. It's the dangerous thing about this is being too broad and weaponizing the noise ordinance, for disputes between neighbors and friends. I can see a lot of issues coming out of this. They actually talk about decibels, in this Albemarle. I don't know if any other board members had a chance to look at it, but I prefer it much over the one that we have drafted before.
Madam Chair, can we just kind of move forward with the one we've got? Are we in kind of almost nearly agreement? We can put it to the public, please.
Katie, what is your next recommendation? What do we need to move forward with this?
I mean, to me, it's a board decision on what kind of provisions that you want. Legally, they're both fine. There's no, a lot of the provision, and Steve said that they were duplicate. I'd taken a couple of provisions out of the Amherst County, and they were actually probably more vague. They had a shorter noise ordinance than I did, but sometimes I look to them because they have some rural areas, and sometimes they have some of the same considerations that we do as opposed to other places in the Commonwealth. But as far as a legal recommendation, I think they're both legal. I think it's a preference on, the board and the citizens. So, I think I will draft whatever the board wants to be drafted. But that's why I knew from, Lonzo had pulled the original ordinance, and I knew after the comments that more specific language was wanted. And so I just decided to start reading other ordinances, and Albemarle I thought was a really good fit as far as the specificity. It was similar in ours. It covered more areas actually. It actually covered more situations than ours did, and then it also kind of tried to define with the decibel levels, and as far as the punishment, as far as that goes, that was specified. So, and the complaints on how that would be done. So, again, to me, it's a board decision. Legally, you can have no noise ordinance. You can have the noise ordinance that was presented, or you can have the Albemarle one, or you could have a combination thereof.
Since the date, it was so long, we will need to have another public hearing on it, Katie, because of this date. of,
Yes, it would have to be re-advertised because, under the code section for ordinances to be advertised, if it's not voted on with a certain time, you have to
Timeframe, we'd have- okay.
you have to have the vote within a certain time of the advertisement.
okay. Well, what's the board's pleasure?
I think Mr. Breeding, made the motion to indefinitely table that, so,
I did not. I said I prefer the Albemarle.
no, before, so I'm asking the question of Ms. Patton. Does Mr. Breeding have to be the one to bring it back off the table? He indefinitely tabled it. I didn't go back and look at my notes from 2 years ago. This is off the top of my head, so I'm asking for parliamentary procedure.
Madam Chair, I really don't know the answer to that. I mean, typically, I will say when you make a motion, if you want to go back and change it, if you were on the prevailing side, anybody can make a motion.
Anybody that voted for it by Robert's Rules of
Can
Order
make a
can come
motion
back
to
and make a
reconsider it.
motion.
So I think anybody that voted in favor of tabling it could make a motion to reconsider it, or put it back on the table. I mean, I guess the biggest thing, I guess, that, and maybe this is not something we take up in January, maybe it's something you all think about a little bit more, is to have sort of an idea of what's gonna be advertised.
Did everybody have an opportunity to read this Albemarle?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like you, I like that one.
I do too. I like the specifics.
I mean, in the existing ordinance, there's no way to define what a disturbance is. I mean, it's just a very subjective, what is a disturbance to me may not be a disturbance to Rebecca,
And another thing that I think needs to be addressed in here is there are legal methods now of hunting at night. Predator hunting is becoming more and more popular. I just think that needs to be, and not that that's typically going to be done where it would bother someone, but who knows,
So is it the board's wishes that we tell Katie to go forward with drafting and looking at the Albemarle policy? Do we put a motion that we're going to have a public hearing in January?
Can you modify that Albemarle?
I'd have to, because they reference to back to
I
other
think you would
codes.
have to modify it, and we look at it in January, or sometime before, and approve it at our board meeting, and then have a public hearing. Is that what we would do?
If that's what you want, if you want me to work on it, because what I would anticipate doing, and I just want to make sure this is what the board wants of me, is because the problem with it is they reference other sections of their code that we don't have, and so I would need to change that, but that would be the only thing I would change, and then the board could say, well, this is the version we want to be advertised and have a public hearing to be adopted, maybe in February. Is that what you all think?
I will make that motion.
All right,
And I'll second it.
all right. Any further discussion on this? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? All right, Katie, we'll go ahead with that. All right, next thing on the agenda is the county administrator's reports and requests.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
What about the Appalachian Regional Commission, ARC, CPDC, ROMAT, Economic, and then the Russell County Abstract of Votes at the top?
Yeah, that's under me.
That's in here.
Yes, yes, sir.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Look at the new agenda, David. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss it.
So do we.
It was like the wind.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Eden. First on the county administrator reports is of course, it's that time of year again. We have a new administration. This is the 2022 VACO, Virginia Association of Counties Preliminary Legislative Program that the Virginia Association of Counties will be considering in January. It will be considering as far as things as economic development planning, education, energy, environment, and agriculture. finance and general government, health and human services, and transportation. These will be things that affects the budget of these various programs and also the, sorry about that, also the legislation on each one of these programs. So I expect with the change of administration, there'll be a lot of different laws. Take a look through that. I have put it in your packet in the Dropbox or the hard copy for y'all to review on the ones that have the summaries. Take a look at those, and if you got any points, or also what we got to consider also is whether we will be tending. Right now, VACO and VML, due to the new variant strand, is still in limbo. They're still trying to decide what to do here. So I'll let y'all know as soon as I know something that was either definite or no, or we going to do this by Zoom like we did before, or whatever method that we utilize. So next on the county administrator reports and requests, of course, is the Cumberland Plateau Planning District Roadmap to Economic Resiliency. This, Mr. Breedy and Mrs. Wallace has already seen this. This is a comprehensive Cumberland Plateau Planning District helped, engaged Hickory Global in research and analyzing the economic opportunities and concerns for business resiliency and recovery of economic shock due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And these are recommendations and conducted by survey, asset mapping, and cluster analysis within the region, and combine these results into economic industrial research. So it is a very comprehensive report. It's got some good points in it. It goes from everything from economic development through industrial development through tourism. So it has a lot of good information. Next on the county administrator reports is, of course, the ARC, the Appalachian Regional Commission Award. This was for $209,590 grant to the Three River Destination Center. This is the Appalachian Regional Commission was awarded has awarded $209,590,000 to the Heart of Appalachian Tourism Authority for the development of the Three Rivers Destination Center in St. Paul. The project is provided by ARC. The grant will support site preparation, architectural, engineering, design plans. The plans will focus on the 2-acre site development to include land surveying, erosion, and sediment control designs, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing designs, and development of the site utilities, including water, sewer, and relocation of the existing electrical and phone utilities. This is an FYI that was given to the Heart of Appalachian on behalf of Russell County. Next on the county administrator reports, of course, we mentioned before, this is the abstracts of votes for the last election for the governor's office, the lieutenant governor, the attorney general, and the members of the House of Delegates. So those, I do need a motion to approve and accept those. I'll make it.
Second.
David, Steve, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
And as mentioned before, first thing on the county administrator request is, and working with the county attorney, the Commonwealth attorney, and the sheriff's office, the first thing on the request is the Russell County Leader Officer. I am looking at reallocating one of our existing employees in the building office, inspections office, into the new Litter Control Officer. We have designed the forms, the programs. We have discussed this with the procedures that will be taken and the dedicated hours and times that will be given to dedicated to doing not just the administration, but also the field inspection services. So I'm asking for a motion for approval of the Russell County Litter Officer.
before we make that motion, I have an ideal I'd like to run by the board. I had called Tim and Carl that serve on the Waste Management Authority. When I was on the Waste Management Authority, and me and Tim and Carl all had a great conversation in regards to them, and I'll let them put their input in. I dealt with a lot of ordinances when I was on the town council in Honaker, and the ordinances ain't worth the paper it's wrote on unless you have enforcement. And the Waste Management Authority, that's all they deal in is garbage and trash. Buchanan County currently has a waste person that goes out and does inspections and looks at the circumstance and situation and stuff, and then does the enforcement. I think for Russell County, it would save us a tremendous amount of money, since we're already partnering with Dickinson and Buchanan, is to let Tim and Carl present this ideal to their board for all three counties to go in together and hire one person, one vehicle, and work with all authorities in Buchanan, Dickinson, and Russell as an enforcement agent. It would save us a tremendous amount of money, and also they deal in garbage. They work with most of, the recyclables. They have the recyclable day. They work with Missy, and me and Tillman talked about that in regards to somehow how that is handled as far as going out and cleaning it up the first time and then the second time fining them, to see how we can basically work through that. But I do know the Waste Management Authority has their own criteria when it comes to garbage, and that's all they deal in is garbage. And I think it would fit us well. And I know Tim, I'll let Tim speak about, and Carl about the guy that they have in Buchanan County that has been doing it for years, that has that kind of rapport and relationship with the citizens. And we had talked about sending them a certified letter the first time and then doing immediate enforcement the second time. It is I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, David, we were gonna take, the lady that's already in the building inspection office and use her. We weren't gonna hire anybody new.
I understand.
That's the discussion.
Well, I know, but we've had a lot of incidents in the past with police officers getting shot. And this is a very sensitive issue when you go out and do this kind of enforcement. I'm not saying that this person can't do it or they can, but I'd like to see somebody with some experience that's already done it. And I know working with the Waste Management Authority, it would split the cost 3 ways between counties. And I'm not saying they want to do it. I think it could be brought to their board for a recommendation to hire one person. There's I guess quite a bit of it, but there's not enough that each county could just keep one person busy doing that all the time. So you all, if you combine 3 counties together, it would be more feasible to do it that way. And you have somebody that's already doing it, it's been doing it for years, I reckon, Tim. Is that not right?
I'm not sure how long he's been there, but sometime, yeah, years.
And you all can elaborate on it, because y'all have discussions with them consistently, and meetings with them. I think they would really fit the bill on how to enforce this, and it would give you a more regional coordinator to do this, and then talk about and discuss maybe going out. We talked about it when I was on that board, going out and cleaning it up the first time, second time, a fine, or, and trying to work. If you can't work with them, you can't work with them. But I'll tell you, I served on town council we had ordinances, a book that thick of ordinances, and really they wasn't worth the paper it was wrote on unless you have some sort of enforcement mechanism. You can take it to court or whatever, and if it gets thrown out or whatever it may be, it just causes a real rift between a lot of people unless you have some sort of plan in place to be able to communicate with the citizens of your county.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I want to interrupt here. Mr. Eaton, I don't think that's a bad idea, but on a regional idea, I really want people to work for me in my county on the county issues that are pending that I've had since 2016. We just heard some public comments just a few minutes ago that we couldn't speak to, but I can speak to that now. And so I really think that we need to have someone on the ground in Russell County that can be held accountable and be out doing inspection and taking this and working with the judge. And I don't say that your idea is not worthy, but at this time, I'm really looking for help this whole room, I think, is looking for help. My neighbors are looking for help. We need help today. And I think that's a little broad for us. I think that we need someone in the county to run these issues, because how would we get Buchanan County cleaned up and Russell County at the same time? It just seems like it's just an awful lot of load. So I'm really wanting to hear about Mr. Lester's suggestion for the litter officer out of the building inspector's office. I like your idea. Don't let it go.
Well, I mean, it could be a Russell County, I mean, the Waste Management Authority could actually hire, you know, maybe somebody or multiple, two people. I mean, we finance them a considerable amount of money, you know, and I'm sure I agree with you. It needs to be somebody that represents Russell County, but that's not something that can't be discussed within your all's board. I mean, you could have probably, I don't think Dickinson County has anybody. I'm not sure. But I know Buchanan County does. But Buchanan County, you can lean on that person to see how they've handled it over the years with their experience and knowledge of what they've been able to accomplish. You know, I know it's a risk to put anybody out there to do enforcement. And that's a little bit of my
I think the first thing you need to find out is Buchanan County willing
Will
to
they,
do that.
will they agree to the?
Well,
And, yeah.
and this is gonna be a budget thing, cause we did not put this person in our budget, so we'll have to relook at that, readdress that. Because currently, the person that's with the building inspection office is ours already. They're here, they're in the county, we're already paying them. So those are more bullets that we need to address and come back
My
and
only
talk
concern
about.
about that, Ms. Dye, is that person is pretty busy right now. Are we just gonna overload somebody else instead of just doing the right thing and hiring somebody outright?
Well, if you want to do that, I'm willing to do that too.
Well, I'm just saying,
But
you know,
money is the issue here, and budget. We're down on a budget crunch. We're looking at all kinds of things to take care of this. Not a bad idea, Steve, if you want to run that one.
well, I just think sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and do it, whether, you
Well,
know what I'm
this is a
saying? I
com-
mean, I just don't think, you know, overloading, putting another, you know, another set of duties on somebody else, you're gonna pay for it somewhere else down the road, because they're not gonna be
Well,
able to.
and is this person gonna be in Dickinson on Monday, Russell on Tuesday,
I'm
Buchanan on
talking about,
the?
I'm talking
that's-
about our moving, adding additional services to one of
To-
our employees.
Huh.
You know, are we taking away from the job they're doing now to cover this new job?
Well,
And if we're not, why?
okay, maybe I can give a little bit of history too. Litter is always a, you know, a touchy subject. Okay, we have looked at different methodologies to be able to get enforcement, like David said before. You can have an ordinance, but if you don't have the enforcement, it's not worth the paper it's written on. I have been working with the sheriff's department. We tried to pull a deputy in there at part-times to give y'all some history of what we can do. Well, when you got two deputies working per shift in the way that everything is stretched in today's climate, they don't have the resources. We also worked with the law enforcement community to try to find someone that was part-time that had deputy powers. Well, what we got to put into this and the amount of funding, you could not get to that level of experience because they can go out and work somewhere else right now as in law enforcement, either part-time or full-time at their own area. Now that this has been mentioned, that into the building office, and this is not the building inspector himself, but his assistant. It will be Bridget that will be doing this, and it'll be, yeah, well, and we did discuss it with them and put into the program. They see, and with it, we think they can dedicate 1 day for administration, 1 day for field inspection. So, because it's going to take some time to go through all these, but now that y'all have mentioned it, why not look at both alternatives? Now, this is what I'm saying. Proceed with one right now until, because it's not a major impact to the finance of the county if we reallocate the existing resources that we have. Second is, why not look at the regional on the big things? Because I've got some in here that just needs to be cleaned up on the mom and pop's yard, but some of them, I've got a mountain that would take something like the Waste Management Authority and resources to be able to pull off. There's no way a litter officer could take care of it, because sometimes it's just abandoned land. So I'm saying, you know, if you want to proceed, let me proceed with my reallocation, try to take care of the mom and pops, the small, and move forward with the Waste Management Authority position too.
And I agree with Ms. Wallace in some ways, but I will tell you, I want everybody to be treated the same, equally, across the board. I don't want this to become a political thing, and I don't want somebody to just not get taken care of because of who they are. I think an outside person looking in that's been doing it for 20-some years has a greater impact of enforcement than it does somebody you hire internally, because I'm afraid that some people are going to get treated. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it has happened in the past that, you know, these things get ignored and looked over, and the enforcement mechanism's not a level playing field for everybody. I just want everybody to be treated equally and fairly.
Absolutely. What do y'all think about doing both? I mean,
Can Bridget handle that? I mean,
we have talked.
you've got the building inspector's office doing some ENS work. You've got them doing the building inspectors. You got them doing the dilapidated structures, and now we're going to put them into litter.
Yes, and this will be, I have talked with Bridget, I have talked, you know, with Mickey, but now Bridget says that she can do it with what time she has, and then we've had quite a few conversations on this. So if it does not be successful, or if it is not working, you've got an alternative to go to too. Now, that's only a suggestion, but of course, it's
Well,
at the pleasure
I'm
of the
not
board.
opposed to it on a trial
And,
basis
yeah,
to
I
see,
think see if it's
you
gonna
know,
work.
but I don't want, you know, if somebody comes in and wants to get a building permit, I think that's
Yes,
what you need to
absolutely.
take care of. You know?
Yeah.
Absolutely, and we streamlined some of those procedures too, and that was some of the questions that we asked. We're gonna make sure that all of our services that we provide doesn't fall down. But again, the calls that we get into our office, some of them can be corrected very quickly. It just just to show up at the front door. Some of them is going to take the enforcement agent, the sheriff's department, the litter officer. It's going to take all of them standing at that door to get them to move.
Yeah, I've had
Okay.
several,
Well, and this
think
gives
several
us an
Mondays.
opportunity to have her working for a little while, and then as we roll into next year, the budget year, then we know we're gonna have to plan for somebody regional.
Tim, when is your all's
work.
next meeting?
It's the third Thursday, so it'll,
If they
So-
could collaborate
Maybe-
with their
maybe,
board
yeah.
So-
and then come back to us, and as the
So-
building inspector's office, is this something we're just throwing on them, or is it something that we've had a discussion with them that it's gonna overload them?
He's already talked
Already
with
talked
her.
to
I have
He's
talked to
already
him. I have talked to him. I
her
wouldn't.
and
Okay.
And
I,
Mickey.
I'm willing to make a motion that we allow Lonzo to proceed in-house, on a trial basis, for a period of 6 months, to be reevaluated at the end of 6 months.
That's fair.
And
Yeah.
in the interim, we asked Carl and Tim to
Yes.
explore the long-range
Yeah.
possibilities of working with Buchanan County
And Dickinson.
on a regional consolidated basis. Is
I
that
always-
be agreeable?
That is absolutely perfect. Like I said, I got mom and pops, and then some of these, it's gonna take, the picture, each one of y'all has something in your
Take
area
more.
that takes more resources than what we got with county, whatever you
Second.
ponder it.
Now you're,
All right,
now you're
Lou.
discussing.
We're already
Now you
discussing.
can discuss, thank you.
and I'm happy, I'm sure Carl is as well, to explore that, and we'll get all the whether they're agreeable or not, and if so, what all is involved, what's, right, but then we may look doing something else.
And that way, we're already moving forward.
All right, any
Yeah,
further discussion? All right, we've had a motion, a second discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Tim, Carl, y'all talk that over with you.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Board. Next, on the county administrator request, this is a appropriation. Again, this is the Litter and Prevention Recycling Program grant. See, these are the grants that go get some of these cleanups, that was allocated to Russell County for $16,225. This is, a litter grant that is for the litter prevention and recycling program activities from July the 1st, 2021 to 2022. Russell County is $11,223. The town of Cleveland gets $1,329. The town of Honaker is also $1,329, and the town of Lebanon is $2,344. I need approval for appropriations for this litter funding.
Do we have a motion to accept this grant money?
I'll make that motion.
Carl, thank you.
Second.
Second, Lou. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next is the Russell County Fire Hydrant Purchase Request. This is a bid that came in. This is the lowest bid for Core and Main for the fire hydrants. The Board of Supervisors is working with the Russell County Public Service Authority to either repair, upgrade, or replace all fire hydrants in operational within the county with as soon as possible. So I need approval for the Core and Main for the upgrades of the fire hydrants. These are totally replacement for $28,995.40.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Discussion, please.
Discussion, yep.
So the PSA is not gonna pay for, is this a grant we're moving through, or is the PSA not gonna pay for this?
No, ma'am. We are taking the funding out of the American Rescue under infrastructure, water and sewer.
We legally can do that?
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Just making sure.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed?
Of course, onto that, I also included and attached in with the locations and the current condition of all the fire hydrants within Russell County. We have, of course, whether they're operation, what the current status is, and their, sorry about that, and what their condition is and for replacement.
Madam Chair, if I may, so we're getting, I see my report, and I read my report, and I share my report. I'm just wondering, have we had an update? So they found a wrench or whatever it was that they needed to work on these things? Does anybody know the
No,
answer to
I
that?
talked to Harvey. They haven't gotten them yet. He said it'd be February, I believe is what he told me.
Okay, so we are out of a wrench. We can't find one. Nobody can make one? A fabricator can't make these things?
And I have a question.
We're going into winter fires, our houses.
How much have we given PSA total now on the fire hydrant repairs, Board of Supervisors?
It'll be a little bit over $59,000.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Yes, we've given the PSA. I couldn't remember the exact amount. Okay.
Do you have a diagram or anything of the wrench that they need to be able to do this?
They have the specs on it.
They do? Well, I mean, can you provide that to us
Absolutely.
as a
I'll be
board?
glad to.
I mean, I know a guy in Bluefield that probably could make something like that for us.
Fabricate it.
I got a grandson, that's what he does, he's a fabricator in Nashville. He can fabricate anything. He can get me the specs on it, I'll call him. Okay. I'm gonna see him
Move on.
weekend of the 16th and 17th. He'll bring it from Nashville to me, and I'll bring it to you.
Okay. Appreciate that. Next, on the county administrator request is the Vdot notice of intent to discontinue Route 743, which is Roller Coaster Road.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. We gotta move on. We'll talk to you afterwards. Sorry, Mr. King. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Again, this is sorry about that, on Route 743, this is VDOT notice of intent to discontinue Route 743 Roller Coaster Road. This is 0.010 of a mile. The Virginia Department of Virginia Department of Transportation intends to discontinue a portion of Route 743 Roller Coaster Road from the secondary system of state highways from 2.35 miles west of Route 650 Breezer Branch Road to 2.1 miles west of Route 650, a distance of 0.20 miles. The road does not provide sufficient public service to warrant maintenance at a public expense, and it has not been actively maintained by the department in over 40 years. And of course, I got the Vdot here in the audience. They are going through their inventory list and cleaning up, and this is one of, am I misspeaking? This is correct, y'all are discontinuing this part of the route. Have I left anything out?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
I'm sorry, who was that?
It's me.
Tim, okay. All right, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor? No one opposing it. All right,
Next on county administrator request is the animal control administrative assistant. We got a resignation from them. I need approval to re-advertise.
So moved.
David,
Second.
second, Carl. All right, all those in favor of accepting this resignation? Aye. Anyone opposed?
Next on the county administrator request is the, for the early pay for the Russell County employees for the Christmas payroll. I need approval for early pay.
So moved.
David, all right, do we have a second?
Second.
Lou, all right, all those in favor?
Next on the county administrator reports is, of course, the Russell County Board of Supervisors annual employee turkey donation that y'all give them. It's a $10 gift certificate to the Russell County employees. I need approval for motion.
So moved. You can't buy a wing for $10.
Can't buy
Used to, you
Wendy's
could, but
hamburger
you
for that.
You can't.
I'll second it.
We did not change it.
Oh, that's bad. All right,
It is.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Any further discussion on that? Anybody opposing it?
Conservatives. Next, next on the county administrator request is, this is a conversation with the Russell County Planning Commission. This is for the Curtis Sawyer's property, an easement concerning it. I have talked with the Planning Commission attorney, and they want it, a motion by the board to move it back to the Planning Commission for further review due
So
to the
moved.
easement and the surrounding adjacent
Second.
properties.
David, we have a motion, and Carl with the second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed?
Ma'am, that concludes the county administrator reports and request.
All right, thank you. All right, at this time, we'll have any board discussions or reminders. Tim?
Just a reminder for Alonzo, I think we need to set a Coal Road meeting sometime soon.
What, that's fine.
Tim, you just call.
I do want to say that I think that we really need to work hard on our ordinance for our litter. I'm pleasantly surprised tonight and pleased that we're seemingly have moved forward an inch. I've been at this since 2016. It is grueling. It is a snail's pace. So I'm hoping that we can absolutely spur some things on for our county. That's what we need. Thank you.
Carl?
Yes, Madam Chair. I'd like to request the county administrator to review the feasibility and the cost to install a small basketball court approximately 30 feet by 30 feet at the Finney Community Center. We currently have dedicated volunteers and monetary donations to assist in this project.
David?
The only thing I'd like to say is, I'd like to thank all of our employees and everybody and our board members, and I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and pray that this COVID stuff leaves the area so we can get back to business as normal. But I just wanted to iterate on that.
Steve?
Yes, ma'am, I've got several things here. First of all, I've had 2 or 3 calls from Sherman Wallace wanting to know what we're gonna do about his property. And he says he has talked to you and you promised him a response for the last 3 months. So we need to take action on it. And I know Peanuts probably had a call or 2 from him as well. We just need to let him know one way or the other about the parking lot, so. And I remember I was in your office when he called, and we'd promised to get back to him. So that needs to be addressed certainly at the next board meeting. I've also had a couple of calls from some employees who are looking at retirement. They're talking about a retirement incentive. Can you explain that to me? It's the same incentive that the school board has on their retirement about paying part of the insurance?
Are you there? There you go. Sorry about that. We had looked at and drafted, the school board has a retirement policy. When they retire, what they do, they take what time they have built up on their sick leave and retirement like other companies do, and like the state does, it converts it to healthcare credits. Instead of paying out lump sums, it converts it to healthcare credits. So one of the things that we had to look for, and one of the things that we ran into the issue is we redid the language that was concerning the teachers. We took that portion out and it scoped it just for county employees. But then, and of course Katie's got it for that review, we've got 2 different proposals right now. But also we have the Constitution officers in there. That component is hard to deal with because, see, they're paid for and controlled by the VRS through the Constitution officers. So we're trying to figure out how to get that one component equal and fair on both sides. So that's where, Katie, you got it right?
If I may, when the issue was brought to my attention, and I was aware that the school did it, and I said, that's fine, it's all legal, but like Lonzo said, and I'll just elaborate on that, the issue is with all your different county employees under all these different supervisors, those each supervisors control their sick leave, and there's no accounting to Lonzo as far as that goes. And so like with the teachers, everything is reported under one system, and so there's more checks and balances. You wouldn't want to have some department saying, oh, my person has, and I'm not making any comment about any of our constitutional officers, just looking at it as an issue, is how do you have accountability in that as far as their sick leave that they've accrued over the years? Because some people are more.
I'm not even talking about sick leave. I thought this was insurance payment. And the sheet that I saw was they pay like $2,000 for a 5-year period, depending on the number of years in service you had towards your insurance. And that'd be like for a 5-year period. So, if that's paid towards your supplemental insurance, then they can get their insurance substantially at less cost for 5 years.
And I think you could do something like that where it's just if there's a service that there's a certain amount that's paid, but what the school has in place is there's options. And so depending on how many sick days an employee has at the end, that can be converted over. And so that's where the difficulty would be in policing that with your different agencies. But that's.
I'll give you a copy of what I was sent, and you can look at it. This supposedly was from the.
With the schools, you're trading in unused sick leave.
Yeah, they're paying sick leave.
You have the option when you retire of taking a dollar amount per day, or you can turn those in.
For healthcare
So many
credits.
days, we'll pay a certain percentage of your health care per year, and you can get up to a certain number of years. That's how they do it.
No, there's nothing in place.
Well, I don't know where that document came from, but that was represented to me as what the counties, and I looked in the operation, in the employees manual, and I couldn't find
it's not in
anything
there,
about it.
no.
But that, we need to resolve this. I understand there's some people that are looking at retirement, and it's an incentive. So, if we're gonna do something, we need to go ahead and do it.
One of the greatest things that, or one of the things that, like I said, is the Constitution officers. And I was looking at it from the financial perspective, the big payouts, with sick leave and vacation being converted to healthcare credits. So, but both components are drivers
Okay,
on this.
well, if we can just address it. Okay, I've only got one more thing. I got a call from a Lindsay Holloman, and she apparently represents Hard Rock Cafe. And she said she had tried to get in hold of the county administrator a while back, and what she's doing, she's going around to the different communities. And apparently there's gonna be a substantial tax windfall from this Hard Rock Cafe that's gonna be distributed throughout, I guess, the entire area. And she wanted to come over sometime after the first of the year and set up a meeting, and she can explain, what it's all about, how this tax would be distributed and whatever. So I said, yeah, come on over, you got money, come on over, So, I've got her phone number, if you would call her and get in touch with her and set up something after the first, I guess you want it,
It
I don't know
is.
if it will be January, February probably.
And I may have already heard it because I heard it when I was with the Heart of Appalachia, so I'll get a hold of Lindsay. I've got her number. So I was with HOA when I did it rather than the county, so
She's employed with Hard Rock Cafe?
she is, and she's already spoke to the HOAs in the other counties. So let me circle back around to her, and I'll give Lindsay a call.
It's one of those hockey tournaments. That's all I have, other than Merry Christmas to everybody.
Okay, the only thing, we will say that Mr. Christian is out today because he is sick, and he did notify us that. Yes, I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope you have a happy, wonderful New Year. And let's do remember, tomorrow is Pearl Harbor Day. And I guess that's all I have. Our next board meeting will be January the 3rd, 2022. So it doesn't seem possible, does it? So I will take a motion to adjourn and see everybody in 2022.
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
Carl, in a second.
Second.